to the YouTube and just make sure that we are actually live. That would be a travesty if we weren't. Just talking to each other. Or if someone can hear us, can you? All right. I assume so. Anywho, there it is. It's just a delay. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back for another Past the Mic. Today we have the lovely and lifesaver Mia, who came through in the clutch when I basically sent out a SOS to the social media sphere, like, hey, can someone please join me this Wednesday? Because our previously scheduled guest was under the weather. She actually had to be hospitalized. So we're just going to send her healing vibes. But enough of that. Today we have Mia, and before we get into her story and, before you guys know, before we dive in, I thought it'd be fun to maybe do a little icebreaker. So, I made two questions. You pick A or B. And so I'm not just choosing it, it's already written, so it's going to pop up. Which one? A or B? Pick one.
Let's do B.
B? Oh, that's a good one. All right. What's your favorite smell and why?
Probably rosemary. Just because it's really calming. It's constant now. So mostly I like rosemary. So it's a happy smell.
So my favorite essential oil smell or like calming smell is lavender. Everything lavender, like my soaps, my dishwashing detergent, my laundry detergent. But when I was younger, I used to like the smell of, like, when you light a match and you blow it out and it has like that smell. I don't know why.
I mean, it's a good smell.
It's weird, but it's like I like that smell. Yeah, weird. All right, cool. Well, thanks for playing. Just something a little different. All right, now it's time to chop it up. Are you ready? All right. So my first question is: I did not know that you were in Maryland. Are you a DMV like native, or are you like migrant?
I'm in Montgomery County.
Oh, you're in Moco. I was gonna say, you're in PG County. Like, what school did you go to? We was gonna drive in. Okay. So you're still under quarantine, lockdown as well.
Yeah, we were locked down forever over here.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So, Mia has EDS, and I'm not. Is it Ehlers?
Ehlers Danlos Syndrome.
Ehlers Danlos. So the H is silent.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. So, what exactly is EDS? Can you kind of explain it to people?
So EDS is, I don't really like to use a umbrella term, but there's like 13 subtypes of it, at least that they're aware of. It's essentially just a connective tissue disorder. So our bodies, for whatever reason, our DNA is producing collagen that is faulty. So in my case, it's too stretchy. So my joints dislocate very easily. My GI tract is a little bulky, and just has a natural prolapse because of it. So part of my heart just kind of like moves when it shouldn't.
Okay.
So heart's beating, one of the valves should close, but sometimes it can get pumped back. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's a weird one. I mean, thankfully, I have the type that isn't life-threatening. It's just life-threatening.
So there are like varying levels. So does it ever hospitalize you for like an extended period of time?
I think the longest hospitalization I had directly because of EDS maybe was like 2, maybe 3 days.
Okay.
And, we're still not sure what I did because, again, part of that, your joints and collagen is just too stretchy.
Mm-hmm.
It's endocytosis disorder. Is it when I'm talking or?
You hear like an echo?
Yeah. Someone said this.
Yeah, someone said the sound's distorted. Is it when I'm speaking or when Mia is speaking? Let's see.
Is it me? Is it better?
So there's a slight lag, so they won't be able to answer right away. It might. Do you have a mic on your headset?
No.
No. Where's your mic? Is it just on your phone or your computer?
It's on my computer. So, see if I move it closer to me, is that better? Maybe? To me.
Yes. Do you see a little mic on your side or like a settings bar? Like the little cog at the top under your name, or like right where your name is. So so it says like your name, and then you see like a little cog next to an X. No. Oh, they said it's better when you're closer to your computer.
Okay, it's better now?
Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, you see the little cog? What's
Yeah,
the...
found it. Okay, switch it to a different microphone. Is that better? Better. Okay.
Is it a different mic now?
Yeah. Forgot my computer has 2 mics on it.
Oh.
It's a little fancy. It's also very old.
Is that better, you guys?
Hope so.
Cheers. I hope it's better. Yes, no?
Hopefully. I mean, this mic says it's picking me up better.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
Figuring out as we go.
Yes. Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for the feedback. Love it. I forgot what we were. Oh, we were talking about it being life-threatening and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the life-threatening ones would be vascular EDS, because for them it's their veins that are too stretchy, so they are at a much higher risk of organ rupture, vein rupture, than just bleeding out spontaneously.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a couple friends that have it, and every time I'm just like, I don't know how to do anything with that.
So you actually have friends that have the same illness as you. That's pretty cool.
Yes, I think it was around maybe 19 or 20 when I had reached out to at the time, local online support group when I was living in California. And about half the people in that group that I talked to was for a different condition. Half of them had EDS, and they were just like, you need to get tested for this. But also, here are all of the other weird things that can come with that, but they aren't 100% certain what it is yet. But all of us have this too. So it was mostly thanks to them that I was then able to kind of piece together everything else that was wrong with me and be like, we're just going to blame it on the EDS because nothing else makes sense.
Okay.
So definitely.
When you were actually diagnosed, were you having like really, really bad symptoms, or were you just kind of just talking to your friends like, I'm experiencing this, and they were like, just go?
It had been suspected that I had something back when I was in high school. I think finally we had just had enough of, yes, I'm a dancer, but these are injuries that aren't dance related and they don't make sense, so there's got to be something else causing it. So my mom was dragging me around to doctor after doctor, and finally landed at Children's National here in DC. And the doctor there is like bending my legs in a weird way. He was like, only infants can do this. You must have that weird thing. And at the time, he didn't know what the name was. He's just like, it's just something that they're starting to notice that like teenage girls seem to have. They're just really flexible, but it should be okay. You should be fine. And then years later, it's not fine. But yeah.
So it's actually more prevalent in teenage girls and not
At the
boys?
time, that's who was being found in. Yes.
Okay.
They've now realized that no, it's genetic. It's if it's in your bloodline, you're having it.
Oh, okay. So, I know you mentioned in your write up, and you guys, his written interview is live on the blog, so you guys can check that out. But you mentioned in your write up that you wear like different braces and mobility aids and stuff like that. So, what actually do you have to kind of wear, and how often do you have to wear it, and what's that like?
It's a long list. For me, primarily, it's my shoulders, my wrists, my knees, and my ankles that dislocate the most. So I have
Mm.
braces for each of those joints. I have compression sleeves because of joint pain and dislocations can cause inflammation. So they will try to get that back under control. I also have forearm crutches. I've got 2 or 3 canes now because I went through a phase of just I need a cane that matches every outfit. And I've got my wheelchair with both just manual push wheels and then also electronic like speed boost. So it's kind of thing for when my wrists are not working with me and my legs are also done. So it's simple enough.
Wow, that is so you kind of just keep them with you all day, or you
Yeah,
kind of
I I used to. For prior to all of the lockdown, I had basically everything in the car. So if I went out somewhere, I could just switch whatever I needed. So like, it was from about a year ago, I was out shopping all day long, literally for hours. So I had my service dog in the car with me, and my crutches, I had a cane, I had a walker and a wheelchair in the car, and just every time we stopped, I switched aid because it was just a rough day, and I was like, no, we're already out finishing this. Let's go.
wow.
I think now I've kind of gotten it to the point where I just keep like 1 or 2 on me. But right now I'm sheltered in place. I have a open space instead of where I usually live. So I have just a walker and a cane. So I just kind of alternate between those. And everything else I make it get.
Well, that's a good part or a silver lining. So, you mentioned before, and I know you said you were a dancer. So, what were you doing? Were you a dancer when you were in school, or this was like your career path, and then they were kind of like, all right, you just can't because you kept dislocating parts, or
So I had started dancing when I was about 2.5, and I ended up getting asked to join a semi-professional dance company. It's probably like 3, maybe 4. And I just stuck with that same company up until college. So I left when I was about, I think officially I left when I was about 19 or 20. Because I would fly back, top of the show, and left back out to California.
okay,
Um, at that time, I had a doctor say, "Oh, if you have this, you definitely shouldn't be dancing because it's too hard on the joints." And then I had stopped cold turkey. It was horrible. I hated it. And then about 3 or 4 years later, I worked with the most amazing physical therapist ever, still missing Austin Pros in San Francisco. So, um, he and I, after we worked together for about 3 years, and during that time, we realized, no, dancing was keeping me together because my body can't rely on the joints to keep me upright. So my muscles need to be strong enough to do it for me.
mm,
So once we started moving me around, like it took me about a year just to undo the damage I had done over the years.
hmm
After we got to that point, he's like, we just need to do strength training. Like, forget everything I told you already. We're just doing strength training. And then slowly but surely, I was getting better. The pain was less. I was feeling a lot better. And just kind of started taking dance classes again. And haven't stopped since.
that's awesome though. So, what are you doing now? I know you said you work, so having to switch from being, a performer, what's your new thing?
Yeah, so from there I did a bunch of random odd jobs. I was still at school, but at school in California for motion pictures and television. Ended up not sticking with that full force and I just do video editing on the side for a local dance company because I miss them and it was gave me a good reason to get back. I also do dog walking. I'm also a dog trainer. So that's generally what I'm doing day to day. Is either walking someone's dog, training someone's dog, or editing someone's videos. But
That's
also,
pretty cool.
yeah,
You made it work for you. I said you've made it work for you.
for the most part. I mean, it was great up until all of this hit. And everything just kind of shut down because everyone's like, I have nothing for you. But I am one of the founding members of Company 360's Comebacks. It's a dance company down in Fredericksburg, Virginia. So I am officially dancing again, which is nice. Our show got canceled, but we get there. Hopefully, fingers crossed for November. That is the next date we're trying for.
Hopefully.
Fading in and out again. So try sitting up a little better and see if that helps.
Is that better? Can you guys hear it now?
Hopefully. I'm also using like a 12-year-old computer for this. So.
My MacBook Pro is about 10 years old, and I was like, I need a new one, but
yeah,
it just feels like there's still so much life in
here. Yeah, that's literally my thing on my computer. I'm just like, but I spent so much money on this, and it still works. But,
is that better when she's closer, you guys? Yay, nay. Give it a couple minutes.
Love your head wrap, by the way.
Thank you. A little better. Okay. Thank you. You know, I did a twist. I did my twist, and I was like, "Oh, I'll take them out." And I was like, "No, it's too soon to take them out. Where am I going?" So I put up my head wrap.
It's about what I did with mine. Twisted last night, and I was just like, no, it's just gonna stay.
I know you also mentioned in your written interview that one of the most difficult things for you was like giving up your independence and having to like go back home to be with your parents when like all your friends like kind of like regressing while everyone else is progressing. And I can kind of relate just like that mental space of like, I'm supposed to be doing this, this, and this, and this, and this is like holding me back. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's definitely the hard part about it all. I think for me it was just that I fought so long and hard as like a teenager to get that independence. Because even when I was in high school, like I was constantly in and out of the doctor's office, just being dragged back and forth. If I wasn't at school, at the hospital, or at dance practice, I was just laid up in bed because I was exhausted. So then I finally got that taste of being out on my own, doing what I wanted. Everything was great until one day it suddenly horribly wasn't.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's when I had to start the conversation with my mom. It's like, okay, what happens if I happen to fall? Which, unfortunately, didn't really. At the time, it finally was like, yes, you have to come home. I wasn't in the position mentally to be ready for it. So that was a really hard blow. I think it took me about a year to get over it. I think I even told her, it's like, I'm going to complain about this every day for a year. I'm just going to deal with that. Which, bless her for putting up with me. Because I did every day. Like every day for 5 minutes, I was like, this sucks. But I think in the long run, it did actually help me because I needed to get that out. Just, I think if I had held that in, it would have been 1,000 times worse than what it actually was. So, man, now at least I know I've got a place to sleep at night. I've got someone that can go fetch meds for me if I just lay down screaming in pain. She's driven me to the hospital at random hours because she's just like, I don't know what else to do. Let's go. So,
gotta love moms. Yeah, I can definitely relate. I remember there was a time when, unbeknownst to me, my family was having like secret conversations, like, "Well, which one of you is gonna go move in with Morgan?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute,
yeah.
I'm not there yet. Wait until it's like absolutely mandatory." Because I just didn't want to do it. So I definitely understand the kicking and the screaming. So how do you, or not how do you, but so you have your friends that are, I guess, still in California that actually have EDS, but anyone here have you connected with that have it, or any other friends in like the chronic illness community, or are you kind of like the only one and have your, normal friends kind of like, not really shun. Shun isn't the right word, but distance themselves because they don't really know how to feel.
Well, I'm trying to remember where I met people. I met one person randomly, like just in the grocery store. Because at the time I had a small like zebra striped pin, which is the
Rare
color
disease.
technically for our disease because we're zebras, not horses, apparently. But said someone randomly, it's like, wait, do you have EDS? Just like randomly popped up in the grocery store. It's like, do you have? I'm just like, hi, stranger, yes. So I have met people face to face randomly, but most of the time I meet people either through Facebook or Instagram or a friend of a friend. It's like, hey, you have that weird thing. My friend has that weird thing too. You guys should be friends. Which, friends watching this, I love you all for that. It's great. It's very random. I love it. But as for like friends that I met prior to knowing I was sick, I'm that horrible person that didn't tell anyone I was sick, even though I was feeling symptoms throughout my entire life. So it kind of came as a massive slap in the face to most of them when I was about 20 or 21, when I put out a long-winded, basically speech/plea for help because I needed help raising money to get my service dog. And all of a sudden, like the light bulb went off for a few minutes. Just like, oh, that's why you could never do this thing. Or if we said, hey, let's go ice skating, you're like, I'd rather not.
So instead of telling them, oh, well, there's something wrong with me, you just were like, nah, I'm not into that. And just
Yeah, no, I was a very secretive private person until like 5 years ago.
Well, I think that's your right. Like I feel like you don't have to like wear it like on your forehead. Hey, something's wrong with me. Like
Yeah,
I'm ready to come. I'm ready to come out the closet when I'm ready to come out the closet.
basically, yeah.
Leave me alone until I'm ready. I get you.
Yeah.
So you also talked about having like basically you couldn't be alone. So was it that you were afraid that you were going to like completely fall and be dislocated and there was going to be no one there to help you, or was it another reason?
So we believe that because I also have POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Essentially, in layman's terms, it just means I faint a lot.
Okay.
Very close to fainting a lot. Um, about 80% certain it's probably secondary to EDS, so I just kind of lump them together usually. But with that, there was one day I was in my studio apartment in California. This was before I got a service dog. And I remember standing up out of bed, looking outside, seeing the sun setting, and the next thing I know, it's pitch black outside. So we have no idea how long I was unconscious. So I think that was actually the day that I called my mom crying. It's like, okay, let's talk service dog because I don't want that to ever happen again.
Yeah.
And thankfully, within about 6 months, I had my guy. But after that, I think when my mom and my dad started having the conversations of where was I going to go, surely I hit the point where I couldn't stay out in California by myself anymore. I think I lasted about 2.5 years out there after that. So it'll work.
You fought a good fight.
I tried very hard.
You did. And now you have your service dog. So
Yeah.
okay. So one more thing or a couple more things. You mentioned your vision for a performing arts community for the chronically ill. So do you want to talk about that? Like where did it come from? What are your plans for it? Like where are you in planning?
Essentially what the goal is with that is I keep envisioning in my mind like an actual physical community center that is focused on performing arts and visual arts that showcases the talents and like, uplifts and honors the talents of those with chronic illness and disabilities, ideally between like ages 18 to like 55, because looking around, there's not a whole lot out there for us.
Yeah.
Like the companies that I reached out to when I first had this idea, it's like, okay, I kind of want to do this, but where should I start? All of them are like, oh yeah, we have that, but it's for Down syndrome kids under 18. Or yeah, we have that, but it's for kids with special needs under 22. And it's like, okay, what about those of us in that like gray space? It's like what they have over there is great, but we kind of get a little pushed to the side when we try to join that space because it's for someone else, which is totally fine, acceptable. But at the same time, it's like, where's my space? Because I go to the regular class, and the teacher's like, oh, you're too fragile for this. I go to the other class, and they're just like, you don't need this space. So it's essentially my goal would be to start offering dance classes or theater classes because those are the things that I hate to say that they saved my life as a kid, but if I didn't have those outlets, who knows? I mean, I
Yeah.
would be a drastically different person, or I wouldn't be. So, but I just the creative outlet of getting to trying to think how to word this. I think I once told my friend that it was essentially my way of hiding in the spotlight. Because you can see me, but at that moment I'm not being me. I get to be someone else. I get to explore movement in someone else's eyes. I get to essentially take a break from reality while living to the fullest. And I think that would be something that I just hope other people are interested in experiencing too. And hopefully I don't sound totally crazy when I say it, but
No, I think that's awesome. I think it's overlooked, so definitely think there's space for it, and hopefully you'll connect with the right people, and COVID will be over soon, and actually, you know, get some things going. Well, I'm excited for you. We can open it up to questions from you guys. Thank you so much for bearing with us through some of the technical difficulties. But do you guys have any questions for Mia and her journey? Um, Go ahead and put it in the chat. And we'll give you guys like a minute or so to do that. We have to be time conscientious because her dogs are on a schedule and their time may be over soon. We don't want to disturb them.
yeah, one of them's outside the door sniffing, so he's awake.
Aww. Let's see if there are any questions. And also, again, you guys, Mia's interview is live on the blog, so you guys can definitely check that out. Questions, questions, questions. Going once, going twice. All right, sold.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Oh, I forgot to tell people that one of the reasons why I put an SOS out there is because May is actually EDS Awareness Month, along with a couple of other illness awareness months. But so it's super awesome that we actually have someone with the disease of the month. That sounds like so weird, like flavor of the month. To kind of share their story, and we can just highlight this particular illness during this particular awareness month. So now, if you guys see someone and see someone who is wearing something zebra print, they may have EDS. So now you know something about them, and maybe you can talk to them about it. You got a couple talking points. You're like, oh, I know about that. So thank you so much, Mia. We really, really appreciate you. And um, and I was like, wait, good question. And yes, I look forward. I'll be around on Instagram and following your journey. And when the visual arts studio comes, I'm not the greatest dancer, but I do love a good visual.
Doesn't matter. You dance from the heart anyway. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
You're like,
It's okay. I can give you some pointers.
Please do. I'll come to Moco and get some pointers. All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye. All right, you guys. That's all. I will see you guys next month for our next guest. And again, third Wednesday of the month. Sorry for the technical difficulties and glitches, but I'm working on making this thing better and being consistent and spreading awareness. So I hope you guys are safe.